Thank you. Um, we should be, the piece I'm going to digress about is this. You said something that reminded me because you talked about you being you and how you found permission to be all the varieties and the of you that you are. And in April, I'll be turning the beautiful age of 65. And I want to say to you that I would have told you years ago that I was living an authentic life, that I was authentic and transparent. But I have to tell you, authenticity and transparency at one point in my life is not the same as another. Same thing for you, I'm sure. And I am greatly appreciative. I am abundantly appreciative whenever I am reminded that I can be me, that I don't have to try to be nice or try to be polite or try to be something else, that it's okay to be me. And that somewhat scares me because a lot of me thinks you won't like me if I'm really the full me. Some of you will. Some of you will appreciate the foul mouthed minister that I could be sometimes behind closed doors, and others will go, "Oh, I'm out of here." And I get that, because I'm not a taste for everybody. But for each one of us listening, only when you can be all of you, only when you can be you exactly as you are we going to experience a world and a life that we're all are welcome, a world that works for everyone. The only way we're going to do that is by being the you that you are. So, okay, I'm done digressing. Donnie, thank you. You really moved something inside of me, and I'm sure the rest of you felt something too, or some of you did, and that's why we do these things. So this whole year is the power of connection. This month is connecting to family, and my talk today is family as your ministry. And I want to tell you a little secret. You know how every family has the crazy aunt or the ridiculous uncle or the ghost in the closet. Well, I'm definitely probably that aunt, most likely. And I want to tell you something about you. My sons, not everyone knows here, I have three sons. And the funny thing about my sons is that when they're out in the world and they see somebody who's dressed boldly or doing something creatively, something that's different than walking the walk that so many walk, they always turn to me and they say, "Ma, they could be at your church." They have this idea of us of being different and unique and a little bit zany. Some of you are not happy to hear that. Some of you are very fine about hearing that. What I love about hearing that is the fact that they even have us on their mind. The fact that they have that connected. I can live with that. But today is, I am one of seven. My mother and father, between the two of them, had I think 14 siblings collectively. Two of my sisters have five children. One sister had four. I have three. One had one, and I lost my one brother in Vietnam. So there's many of us. I have a large extended family. So this is one of the reasons why I am extremely sensitive to the conversation around family. The You and I are part of an ancestral lineage. Now, for some of us who are doing some extra work behind the scenes, and I'm referring to the anti-racism work that we are doing with Healing the Divide, some of that ancestral lineage is nothing less than painful. It's heart-wrenching, shame-producing, painful. So that's part of our ancestral lineage. But at any given point, right, you and I are part of the next chapter of that lineage. So when we are doing it consciously in this particular lifetime, in your 40, 50, 60, 70 years or whatever, 80 years. This is your legacy. And I consider it an important thing for each of us to stay painfully focused on being conscious in the legacy that we promote. Okay, not everybody wants to work as hard as I work in staying conscious. I get that. Not everybody wants to do all the reading, the meditating, the praying, the classes, the teaching, the books. I get that. So I'm going to try to take into consideration today that some of you desire to be part of this movement and your legacy in a conscious way, and others, I'm going to try to do what I can to make it simple. Okay, if you desire to have a potent, positive influence on your legacy and your ancestral lineage, then you're going to do it very consciously by being mindful of your actions, your words, the way you hold the world, the way you hold your family, the way you interact. There is a lot, there is a lot to do. There is a lot to do when you want to do it consciously. And so there's a lot that goes in with that. But if for you, you are simply enjoying your life, and I get that. I said to Neil the other night, I admitted to him how there's there's a bittersweet thing happening in my life right now. Bittersweet because as I age, there's a part of me that feels less relevant. And that's just a part. But while that's happening, I really love being a nana. I love my grandchildren. I love making meals for my husband in our new kitchen. I love cooking. I love baking for us. I love finishing the blanket that I'm crocheting that's for our bed. So while I had this idea of who I was supposed to be in the world, that idea has changed and morphed as time has gone on, which wisdom will allow. Whoever thought I'd love being this age? But I do. So I still am committed, though, to being a very conscious, aware individual. I am very dedicated to my impact on my household, on my family, on my chosen family. That's you, in case you don't know it. And many of you are, we have tight relationships, close, tight relationships. And then on, my where I live, the town of Denville and my neighbors. And then beyond that is my greater CSL international family. And then basically the world, right? So we have impact in a level within concentric circles. I try to stay aware of the different layers of impact that I have. Because while I might enjoy cooking and cleaning and that kind of, not cleaning, forget, I didn't say cleaning. While I enjoy cooking and baking and crocheting and being a nana, it is not, it is not, it does not ever, excuse me, I'm always still dedicated to paying attention to my impact. So that means that when I'm out in the world, I might not like what I see in the form of behavior with someone. So if I don't like it, then I'm going to default to a namaste practice. Okay, let me come back around to that. So if you are unwilling to do anything else, the thing I give to you, which you know, but I'm going to repeat it. If you live under the banner of do no harm, you are already doing a lot for your household, for your family, for your community, for your neighborhood, for your country, and for the world. Now, what comes under the category of do no harm? opinion, of course, this is my opinion. Under that category comes a commitment to, we will always have critical judgment for not judging another to create a comparison between superiority and inferiority. Do no harm means to me not condemning you, not blaming you, not finding fault in you. Doing no harm means to take responsibility for who I am, take responsibility for my impact. Doing no harm means to practice kindness even when it feels difficult. Is that inauthentic in that moment? It might be, but I choose to believe that my defaulting to kindness will never leave a bad taste in my mouth, even if at that moment I don't even believe what I'm saying. Talk about being inauthentic. The truth is, though, when I leave this earth and I want my legacy to be one where I did no harm. You might not love me and you might not like me, but I want to know that I was identified as someone who did no harm. Ernest Holmes said, and I got this from the Richer Living today. People, if you are not in that Psalm Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning, I know it's early for some of you. In that study in the Richer 365 days of Richer Living, you're missing some powerful conversations. Okay, he said, oh, well, either he or Barker, they both wrote the book, and I don't know who wrote what. The recognition of God as cause and as the creative power of this world brings victory to the soul. It does this because all properties can gain an end within the individual's own consciousness. As we realized, I couldn't find, I did it again. I think I copied it wrong, Neil. You have to go get the book for me. The point is that the cause and effect live within the individual at the level of consciousness. Our problems are here. The solutions are here. Get that? I want you to hear it. The problems are here. The solutions are here. How we assess and interact with the world are here. Our judgments of the world cause this. Our judgments of family. Everybody has family that you love. You have family that you tolerate. And then you have family that you straight up don't like, don't want to talk to, find offensive, and would be okay if you never again interacted with them. Of course, that's an oversimplification of the categories of relationships. But the workable relationships, the one where you can't wait for the holidays, the ones where you just want to hang out with your peeps and your cousins or your children, that's just keep that healthy, right? We just keep that healthy. We keep a legacy of love and healthy relationships. Then there's the questionable relationships. That's the one where somebody doesn't quite accept you. Maybe they've hurt you. They've said something harmful. Now here's the spiritual practice there. Two parts. One, it's an invitation for you to practice forgiveness. Two, it's an invitation for you to find forgiveness in yourself and to make amends. All problems begin and end within the individual's old consciousness. Thank you, Neil. That's because I dictate into the computer. Let me repeat that. If someone has harmed you, forgive them. If you have harmed another, forgive yourself and then make amends, even if you only make amends inside. Why do I tell you to do this? Because you carry the whole world in your hands, in your heart. Those relationships that you think you're ignoring that don't really matter. I don't really see them much. Oh, they don't really care. Not so. We teach in Science of Mind that we are one. We are of one community. So that in this one community, there is no place where the all is not fully present. There is no private good. There is no private good. So as I grow, and I heard this discussion this morning in the group, the reason why it appears that we are an I and me community is because it begins here, not because that's the only thing that matters. I cannot love another until I love myself. I cannot forgive another until I forgive myself. And I cannot get to know another until I know myself. And so with your family, it begins here. And when you clean up those energetics between you and family members, when it softens, when it becomes loving, you have actually begun to transform the entire world, because when we shift in consciousness, everything shifts simultaneously. Absolutely everything. Okay, I told you there were three categories. The last category is the one with the really broken relationships. Not the one where, not the kind where someone just insulted you a little, but maybe there was abuse. Maybe you were abandoned. Maybe we're talking about substance abuses. There are all sorts of categories. Divorce, where you were really, really hurt, where you witnessed violence, or where violence was perpetrated upon you. Yeah, these things exist and they exist here. Those relationships, the pain of those relationships, the sense of hopelessness, even if you bother to think about them. And my guess is that you might have this category in your mind where you just kind of store those relationships and you don't even bother thinking about them because you think they're dead, they're gone, they're of zero consequence. I assure you that that's not true. It's not true for you. It's not true for your family, and it's not true at a global level. Now, before we talk about what to do about that, don't shut me off yet. Don't cut me off yet. I'm gonna make this as easy on you as I can. If you have that level of relationships in your family. Everyone you know this quote, you've seen it. Everyone you know is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. I would have given you the credited the author, but I couldn't identify it. Hurt people in your family and in the world. We're not here to make excuses for. We're here to pay attention to the fact all of those relationships, all the pain, and all the possibility of healing exist here. So here's what I'd like to ask you to do if you're listening to me. I'd like to ask you to be willing to simply bless the space between you and that other, whoever that is. I am not asking you to like them. I am not asking you to approve of them. I am not asking you to agree with their political leanings. I'm not asking for you to, in any way, put a stamp of approval upon the way they have impacted the world. What I care about is where they live in you, where they live in you. I have been practicing this, and some months back, an individual that I had not spoken to, that I had not I had not reached out to, but was on my mind as a question of wondering what happened to that relationship and why. And since I couldn't figure it out, and since I couldn't identify a reason, I simply began to bless the space between this person and myself. Some time went by, but quite unexpectedly, I get a phone call from this individual who was asking me to support them in prayer and then in coaching out of the blue, out of the blue, because I blessed the space between us. I took care of that vibratory, energetic space, which you can easily not pay attention to, but once you do, you realize it's always there. There are so many stories right here in this community. Many of you are on Zoom today with us. Stories that I know that where your life has changed because of how you've healed many relationships within your family. Matter of fact, I'm going to take myself off of spotlight for the moment. And I just want to see if you have a healed relationship because of the applying the teachings of the science of mind and the way we are in this community. Do me a favor, give me a thumbs up on screen if you have had healed relationships. Yeah, this is a fact. And there's some hands that I know of that aren't, I'm not quite seeing, but I know that thank you, that there has had impact. And some of it comes as gently as the practicing do no harm, as removing the judgment. Often it can be that simple that when we take away and just cease pouring toxic energy into something, things begin to heal. Things begin to heal. So, what I'd like to do, I'd like to give you an opportunity right now to practice this. So, while you're listening to me in this moment, come up with just one name of one person in your family with whom you have had great discord and distance and downright rejected this individual. By the way, as I do every week, this is just my request now that I'm on gallery view. If you are able to come on screen, I just request that you do, just so we can see each other. It's just a lovely thing to see you. However, I'll go on. Come up with one name right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those of you who are coming on screen. I truly appreciate it. It's just so different to see you. Ah, thank you. Your beautiful, beautiful faces. Thank you all. Thank you for responding. You see, I have a large family, and then I have a family of choice, and many of you are my family of choice. You are my family of choice because you are the people I cry to. You are the people that pray with me. Oh, and I see some people have put names in the chat. You can, you don't have to. That would be wonderful. And then in another moment, I'm going to take you through a tiny process. Thank you for your bravery in this conversation. Thank you for your bravery. Because I know some of you just got people that you wish they weren't related to you, right? Anybody admit to that? You wish they weren't your family. I get it. I understand. But they are. Blood demands it as such. And sometimes it might be an in-law or an ex, but same thing. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, if you're willing, close your eyes. And if you will, please just let go, close your eyes. And bring that person to mind, but not what they've done. Do not bring the problem. Just bring their face to mind. Just their face. And as you're sitting right here, begin to breathe very mindfully in through your nose and out of your mouth. And as you sit with that image, stay with this mindful circulating breath, and then add one step. Begin to consciously bless the space between you and she, you and he, or you and they. Begin to just bless that space. Don't try to fix them. Don't try to figure it out. Just bless what you are carrying within you. And I'm going to be quiet for a minute and let you just stay with that practice. Okay. You are free to try this at any time, not only for your family members, but for friends, politicians, anybody who lives inside of you in a painful way. You and I can only control that which we own. You and I can only control that which we take responsibility for. And we must take responsibility for how we hold somebody. My judgment of you, my assessment of you creates my relationship with you. And here's the thing, consciousness seeps into places that nothing else does. And as you and I take responsibility to heal that space between us and our family members or another, it seeps into the world. We begin to heal at the level of consciousness and impact at a global level. The consciousness is everywhere because there's one vibrational good. There's no here and there. There is only this space in this moment, and you and I are sharing it right now. So as you heal and heal the space, it has a global impact. And I don't mean to overemphasize and get dramatic about it. It's the fact. So we have family of blood, we have family of choice, and then we have our extended family. So one of the things that matters to me deeply, and if you've received our newsletter, you and hopefully read it, you know something that's coming up, and I want to introduce it to you while we are in this month of the Black History Month. At the end of April, along with Regina McLaughlin and I are going to be traveling together, but there are others that will be going. We are flying into Atlanta. From Atlanta, we are getting on a bus with people from other states around the country. We are going to Birmingham, and we are going to see the Peace and Justice Museum and Memorial. This is not a fun trip. This is a pain, heart ripping out of our chest kind of trip for the purpose of knowing more, learning more, and being better. I invite you to join us on this journey. Neil has just put that link in the chat should you want to join us. I would be so honored if you joined us on this journey. So honored. Because that is my extended family. And, one of my favorite quotes, which I will totally butcher because clearly I butcher quotes. If you say you love God, but you do not love your brother, you are a liar. The only way I can be fully effective is I choose to love the whole. I must love the whole. And if I don't love the whole, I can like the whole. If I don't like the whole, I can accept the whole. And if I can't accept the whole, I can at least be kind in my actions. Thank you, Barbara Gilfillan, for doing a mindful or kindness meditation this morning in our meditation. There is no time where you are not being impactful. I say to you, please do it mindfully. Your family is your ministry. They are, some of you appreciate this term, they are your downline. They are your legacy. Let's do it consciously. Let's do it consciously. So let's bring this into treatment. Take a breath, if you will. Hold your hands, put your hands on your arms, on your body, on your heart. So your mind is connected with your body in a very conscious way right now. Know with me right now that whether it is a namaste practice where the presence and the power and the love of the one in me meets and greets the presence and the power and the love in you, or whether it's a full out madly being in love that I am and you are the power of transformation on this planet. I am and you are the one who carries within each of us everything that is required to bring love to the forefront of life. Even if love in the moment is simply a practice of do no harm, even if love means allowing what is to be. I know and I declare on behalf of each one of us that you and I have the power, the presence, and the consciousness to be the change. You and I have the consciousness to act accordingly. According to what? According to the law of love. Let us beautifully, consciously, mindfully engage every member of our family, whether it's joyfully, whether it's through a distant acceptance, forgiveness, and practicing amendment, or if it's simply blessing the space. Let us bless the space. Even now, as I speak these words, it is not me, but the power and the presence of the I am in me that speaks. So as this I am, I declare for each that we are the ones that the world's been waiting for. We have the power to be the presence of transformation. If this word is acceptable to you, I invite you to whisper a yes wherever you are, to accept and allow. Let's call it good and very good. And let's let this be so right here.